Yeah, if you have an open emotional center, and if you look at the gates and channels that come out of the solar plexus center, I mean, one of them is crisis and chaos, right? I mean, it's just with the gates that are there, and if an emotion if an undefined emotionally person initiates or um moves forward on something without his authority, then you can create chaos and crisis in your own life and emotional upheaval. So when I'm looking at somebody's design and I'm talking to them, I want to point these things out, and depending upon exactly what's defined in their design, I can guide them and say, if you make a decision out of emotions, this is a kind of thing you can expect. And you can look at the gates to talk about that, use the keynotes within the gates to talk about that. So, you initiate, you
Amazing.
know, something, and it's not going to feel good,
Hmm.
So you have to be careful.
Hmm.
And when you look at somebody's chart, we're all so different, and all the activations in our design are so different that you can trigger certain things that are not going to be pleasant if you don't wait for your strategy and authority.
Hmm.
And an analyst, somebody who's been trained in looking at charts, can really guide that person specific to what's going on in their design,
Hmm.
typically the open areas, because those are the areas that are going to get triggered if you initiate. And sometimes that can be very difficult. Like for me, if I initiate, I have a I have a defined ego, I have a defined sacral. Many ways in my design, I'm very capable of a manifesting generator. I'm very capable of doing something, getting something done, taking on responsibility, etc. And so the danger for me in initiating is getting into something that is not correct for me. And then the worst thing in the world for me to do is have to back out of it. Do you know what I'm saying? You tell somebody you're going to do something, and then you can't, or realize that's not for you to be doing. To go back and tell that person you're not going to be able to do it is, it's very, very difficult for a ego defined person
Hmm.
to back out of something they've committed to. It just goes against our nature. So that's why it's so important to enter into it correctly, so that the will is there to take you through. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, Julia is nodding there. She has a defined will too, not me. By the way, correct me if I'm wrong, but did we just pass into the Rave New Year? Just like two,
Yes,
3 minutes
just
ago?
like 6 minutes ago.
Woo!
Yes. Maybe, just, I didn't plan this question, but is this something that we can do with understanding of human design, that we are actually all celebrating it on the same time, basically? I mean, independent of the time zones. Or is it still different for the time zones when the gate 41 is activated? Are there different times where the Rave New Year?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, it's only 12 o'clock noon here in
Hmm.
where I live, and where you are, it's much later, like
Yes.
8 hours later. Um, so
Anyways,
I
I'm
guess
not
we
gonna
should.
get into that rabbit hole of time zones. We
Yeah,
are
yeah,
getting
yeah,
exhausted.
yeah.
But anyways, happy Rave New Year, everyone. And
Happy Brave New Year.
coming back to your journey a little bit. So you obviously it is, as you said, it's also it sucked you sucked information in when you finally kind of maybe over time you had more chances to respond to it, and then you finally meet Ra, and can you shall we say take us into a journey with the relationship with Ra, how it kind of eventually become that you taking part of the International Human Design School?
Sure. I Well, I first met him probably in 2000. I'm guessing, wasn't that long after I met Human Design that I met him. And he did a reading for me, and he did some remote readings for me as well. And then I went to Germany to study with him to get my teacher training and do a lot more. And he did more readings with me. And it was during that time, I think that was 2001. Yeah, 2001. And he told me, he said, you know, you're here to play a big role in human design. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. He said, it's in your design. And I said, okay. You know, I mean, I had no idea. It was just something that he said. I already knew that I could feel it, that I was, this was it for me, what I was going to be doing. And then just one thing led to another, and we began to work together. He started teaching online, and at the same time, I started teaching online. And I had a pretty good fractal, a lot of students, and I brought a lot of students to his school. And I think it was 2006 that he asked me to be the dean of the IHDS. And so I did, and my role was organizing classes and putting classes together, and it, you know, was a lot of work, and that was kind of where we really started working together. And then there were things that were changing in the community, and we needed a new Living Your Design book. And we needed, there were some structural changes within the training program that he wanted to implement. I think that was 2003, if I remember correctly.